What if I told you that you're already playing the most important game ever created? And every day, you're either gaining experience points or you're letting your stats decay. I'm your host, Daniel James, and as always, if you're new here, welcome. The game I'm talking about is the game of life. And whether or not you want to accept it, every single one of us is playing this game of life. The difference is, some people feel like they are the main character and they know that they are the main person in their life, while other of us may feel like the understudy, or we may feel like we're the undervalued extra. But you, right now, listening to this, are the main character of your life. And something that you need to know is you have 6 core stats that, whether you are aware of it or not, you were born with them and you can develop them. Just like a character in a computer game. Now, these 6 big life stats that you can actively develop are discipline, resilience, social intelligence, creativity, physical vitality, and finally, learning agility. So let's kind of break down each one of these so we get an understanding of what these things are that we can develop. And I'm going to share with you ways that you can improve them so you can level up your stats so that you can start winning the game of life and not feeling like that understudy or undervalued extra. So the first one is discipline. Now, for those of you that have been long-term listeners of the show, you will know that I class discipline as doing the things you know you need to do when you don't feel like doing them. And you do this through willpower, consistency, and that delayed gratification. All of those things encompass discipline. Next, we have resilience. Now, resilience is normally seen as bounce back ability, but I don't see it as bouncing back to how you were. I see it as emerging enhanced, meaning that when things go wrong or you have experiences that aren't ideal, you can take the lessons from them and become an enhanced version of yourself. And with this resilience, you have greater stress tolerance. Next, we have social intelligence. This is all about empathy, communication, and relationship building. Communication is such a skill because you can have all the answers in the world, you can have the best laid plans, but if you can't communicate them, they're not going to get done. And same when it comes to relationships, when it comes to romantic relationships or friendships. Do you have the ability to communicate when you're not feeling well, as in within yourself? If you're struggling mentally, can you communicate that? If you need some help and support, can you communicate that? Can you articulate it? All of this comes down to social intelligence. Then we have creativity. This is all about problem solving, innovation, and having that artistic expression. Once again, we all have this. But maybe we haven't practiced it for years, so our stat bar is currently at 0. Then we have physical vitality. This is our health, our energy, our endurance. And just because you don't believe that physical health is important, it doesn't mean that you don't have physical health. Just because you don't prioritize it or think it's an issue, you still have physical health. And the one time we all start to prioritize our physical health is when we're struggling with our physical health. But once again, just like with all of these are skills. These are things that we can actually develop. And we should be actively developing all of these to help us, not just when we need them. And then finally, and again, I say finally, this was not done in any sort of order because this could arguably be one of the most important ones, is learning agility. This is all about adaptability. When things go wrong, do you sit and dwell? Or do you reflect and move on to plan B? Do you even have a plan B? Are you eager to gain more knowledge? Or do you think that you already have all the answers? And do you have a growth mindset, or are you very fixed in the way? I know everything. Because the very act of thinking that you know everything shows that you know nothing. But all of these things, these are our 6 core things. And every challenge that we face in these areas, we gain these experience points. And when we gain these experience points, we gain more skill. The more skill we get, the more experience we get, the harder the tasks we're going to face. We're all going to face challenges, change and complexity in our life, every single one of us. But do we have the skills to deal with it? Because life will keep sending you the same lessons over and over and over again until we learn the lessons and develop the skills to move on to the next level. And just like that game, when you're playing back in the day, remember Mario? You complete the level and you go on to the next one. You take the skills that you learned from level 1 on to level 2. You complete level 2, you take the skills from level 1 and level 2 onto level 3. And the life's challenges and changes and complexities get slightly harder, but we cannot ever ignore them. But these different levels, discipline, it might be level 1 is just making your bed consistently. Now that seems really simple and basic. But once you've developed that, boop, you've gained that experience. Perfect. Now to level up again, you've got to do things that require more discipline. Until finally you're on level 5, where you're sticking to a workout routine, and then level 10, where you're building a business maybe, or you're mastering something. Maybe it's a skill, maybe it's playing the piano, whatever it is, learning a new language. So as you can see, you take them and you go on to other levels, but they're never ending. We keep building the skill, but every level unlocks harder challenges, but more importantly, bigger rewards. Look at big challenges you've overcome. How good did it feel when you actually overcame it and got through the other side? Big challenges give big rewards. So we shouldn't be seeing these things as like, oh, I don't want to do this again. Because that's not what life's all about. I believe that the purpose of life is to grow and express ourselves and gain these stats, just like a character in a computer game. But how does leveling up actually work? So how do we level up these skills? Well, it's all about repetition. We do the repetition and we gain the experience points. And then every time we do something difficult, you get stronger at the thing. Just look at the first time you did any task. Maybe it is learning a new language. The first time, it had felt completely gibberish. Then the more you practice, the more you experience it, the stronger you get at it. And the stronger you get at it, the more you're like, okay, I kind of make out a few words there. Still don't understand that, but I get the basic gist. Any time we do something, we're going to start off, it's going to be very, very difficult. But then we get better at it. There's things that you do right now that you don't even think twice about, but you struggled with initially. How about learning to drive a car? Guarantee the first time you got into a car, especially if you're old school like me, and you had to use the manual and had to change gears, those 3 pedals, I guarantee you found that harder when you started. But now you can do it like that. That's what this is all about. So repetition is the first thing we can do to level up these skills. The second one is the compounding effect. Now these small daily actions create massive long-term growth. Just Google the compound effect and look at the compound effect of 2p. So you just compound it, 2p every day, it doubles and doubles and doubles. It's the compounding effect, just small things. And it gets to a certain point when there's exponential growth. It's the same with these. But the problem is that a lot of the time we don't want to do the mundane stuff. But it's that mundane, monotonous stuff that builds the XP that gets us good at these skills. Skills require patience, they require practice, because there's a use it or lose it mentality. These skills decay without practice. And then your character, this main character, their stats go down and down and down. Now, quick examples of this and how we can apply this when it comes to leveling up. Social intelligence. That could start off with just like saying hello to a shop assistant, or go to network events, and then finally we go to public speaking. So it's just one small step, leads on to the next one, leads on to the next one. When it comes to physical vitality, starting off with a daily walk. Just starting out with a daily walk, something so simple and small. When I was working as a personal trainer all those years ago, I would just start clients off, especially ones that were struggling and had a lot of weight to lose. I'd say, hey, just start out walking. Literally, don't run before you can walk. Get the basics nailed down, start walking. And then from there, we can get into a gym session. And then from there, we can start to do some challenges. But just start off walking, getting active, getting fit. But can you see that compounding effect? You do one thing and you keep doing it. You then level up to the next one and then you level up. That's how this works. But just reframe how you see these boring tasks. It's not boring tasks. We're creating experience points from all of these things that we're facing. Now, using the computer game analogy, because I love computer games, I'm a massive computer game nerd. If you could see the side of my my office here, I've got all like a little vinyl pops along the top there. So I'm a big nerd when it comes to stuff like that. So we're going to talk about daily quests versus the boss battles. So daily quests that we face and the big boss battle. So your daily quests, they're like your routines and your habits. And you've heard me talk about this before. You've got the wise man and the foolish man. The wise man who built his house on the rocks, and the foolish man who built his house on the sand. When a storm of life came, the house on the rock stood firm, the house on the sand fell, and great was its fall. This is talking about your habits and your routines. When those challenges, changes, and complexities of life come, what is your life built on? If it's got good, strong habits and routines, your life will maybe rock a little bit, but it's going to stand firm. If you have no habits and routines to fall back on, your life's going to shake and it may crumble. So these daily quests, these are your daily habits, and this is what provides steady experience points. So you're just steadily leveling up. And this could be exercise, reading, basic meal prep, whatever it is for you. But it's these daily quests that keep you ticking over and moving in the right direction. I was having a conversation with a client 2 days ago. I was talking about the fact of why I read and why I'm so adamant on reading. And it's because even if my day goes completely wrong, if I've read 10 pages every day, I know that I cannot go to sleep the same person I woke up. Even if the day's a complete write-off, I have leveled up and I've moved forward because I've gained more knowledge, I've gained more awareness. Now maybe again, reading isn't for you, but I've been looking at certain things that you can do each day that helps you become that better version of yourself, whatever that looks like for you. Now we then have these side quests. Now these are like one-off challenges that build specific skills. So for example, you want to learn something new, or you need to have a tough conversation at work. Those things are these one-off experiences, like they're side quests, but they give you a lot more XP. And you actually discover a lot more doing these side quests. You get a lot more than just the experience. You get more golden nuggets than just the experience points. And then finally, we have the big boss battle. Now, these big boss battles, I call these test days. This is when you've got these major life challenges that test multiple skills. So that list we said, tests a few of them at once. And it could be a big job interview. Or it could be a promotion you're going for. You could maybe have conflict in your relationship. Again, not just romantic. It could be with a family member, for example. Or it could be launching a big project at work. But any one of these, that's a big boss thing. That's where you're taking all the experience points from all of these different skills and you're bringing it into one thing to battle that boss. And that's what we're there for. That's why we practice. We practice for these big things. And just like when you're playing a computer game, you want to try and have a party system. Surround yourself with high-level players. Get yourself a mentor. Friends that are motivated and are doing something with their life. Because the more you surround yourself with people like that, it's going to make you better. Because your environment is your equipment. So set it up to support the character that you want to become. Just have a look around. Are these people helping your character grow? Or are they keeping that character stuck? Now, just like on computer games, we're sometimes going to have game overs. We're going to have days that are tough. We're going to have days that we want to quit. Sometimes we want to rage quit. We want to pick that controller. We want to launch the controller. We all have those days. But what do? How can we keep pushing through? So as in every failure we go through is just a respawn. You keep your experience and your knowledge, and we just start again. But every failure isn't a failure. It's only a failure if we stop. If we take the lessons, we gain more knowledge from that failure, and then we change the definition. So let me say that more simplistically. If we have something that's a perceived failure, if we learn and take lessons from it, it is now no longer a failure, it is actually a lesson. We've changed the definition and the meaning of the thing we faced. And common boss battles that we all face are things like, procrastination, self-doubt, perfectionism, all of these things. So we've got to be careful that although these big bosses may seem like a once in a month thing or once in a year thing, when we have that job promotion or we have these difficult conversations, we have daily boss battles that we may not even be aware of, these sneaky little bosses. So do you procrastinate? Do you start to self-sabotage? Are you a perfectionist? Because that's a big boss battle you're facing probably more regularly than you'd like. And are you developing a recovery strategy? I don't believe there's any such thing as overtraining. It's just under recovery. And if you look at pro athletes, they actively seek recovery because they know the importance of recovery. So when we're using this recovery strategy, it's analysing what went wrong. So we're recovering. So maybe we didn't win that battle. We're stepping back, right? What went wrong? What can I learn from this? And then we can adjust our approach. And then we jump back in. But now we've got more equipped. We've got more equipment because we've gained knowledge. From that thing that's not quite gone right, we've gained knowledge so we can go and attack it from a different angle. But it's important to remember that every single person is playing on different difficulty settings. So focus on your own character progress, not other people's highlight reels. No matter what you see on social media, we know that it's not real. So your mission right now, if you choose to accept it, just pick one of these. Like, what is your mission right now? You could pick your focus skill. What is one of the abilities that we spoke about earlier on? Which one of them do you want to level up this month? So for the next 30 days, pick one and really focus on that skill and try and build it back up. Maybe start to build your daily quests, your habits. What small, consistent action will build that skill? And then find your XP opportunities. Reframe these boring daily tasks as character development. Because we're all playing a game, whether you realize it or not. The only question is, are you playing it intentionally? Are you just a bystander and feeling like an understudy or an underappreciated extra? My final thought here is that every expert was once a beginner. Every pro was once an amateur. The only difference is that they kept on grinding when it got difficult. Your character sheet is blank. What story are you willing to write? You are the main character in your life, whether you realize it or not. And I hope that you realize it sooner rather than later, so you can develop these skills, level up your life, and get out of it what you want. As always, if you've taken any value from today's episode, please share it with a friend. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. It massively helps the channel. Until next time, take it easy.